regulators really are open, and I think they are really trying to modernize a lot, as many of us know. The ICH E6R3 that was mentioned earlier is supposed to have a future annex that is going to be, discussing, I think, DCT components a little bit in more depth, and that. Hopefully a lot of the comments that are coming back from that from the first R3 revision here is going to play into the need of what will be needed in that annex. Over the last 5 years, I know there's been a great deal of different guidance, and they're not just on the DCT, guidance that we had recently last year, but there is all about data, real world data use, their guidance on, and this is globally too. I mean, there's stuff coming out of PMDA and EU and FDA, really thinking hard about use of real world data, real world evidence, e-consent, how to capture data from digital health technologies. And I think in the last 5 years, we really have seen quite a nice output of different guidance out there to try to help. Now, it's nice to get it out there, and it's also nice to get the comments back so that the FDA and regulators can kind of update those drafts and finalize them where they're seeing the gaps and where they're hearing about the gaps. The only other thing I would say is we often say at Citi is to engage early and often, and I think that engaging early is so important, and I do think that the regulators are open for that. So when it comes to kind of seeking clarity, there's an element of only so much can be put into the guidance themselves. And then there's this element of being able to implement and interpret that guidance that is contextual. And there's a little onus on the recipient of the guidance and the folks who are using it. And to the extent that you can keep kind of channels, be able to communicate and think through how is this being interpreted, and if there's confusion, is there a way then to connect with those regulators early so that that confusion can be alleviated?